صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. We have concluded the most important and relevant rulings pertaining to the niyyah or the intention of Sawm. From tonight onwards, inshaAllah, we will begin with the invalidators of Sawm, also known as al-muftirat. In a hadith by Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam, he says, لا يضر الصائم ما صنع إذا اجتنب ثلاث خصال الأكل والشرب والارتماس في الماء والنساء. Now, Sayyid Sistani lists 10 invalidators for Sawm. The first being تعمد الأكل والشرب, meaning that you eat and drink on purpose or purposefully. Meaning that if somebody drinks or eats unknowingly, مثلا, if somebody forgets that they're fasting, it happens to be on a hot day, they come and they find a cold jug of water, they don't know that they're fasting, they've forgotten, they pour and they drink. Does this invalidate the Sawm? No, it does not. Now, if you happen to be a witness to this, if you see somebody forgetting that they're in a state of Sawm, who are drinking water or eating food, do you need to remind them? Also, no, you do not. If you saw somebody drinking water unknowingly, then you have no obligation to remind them or tell them. Now, we know that we have to avoid eating and drinking. Does it mean that we have to avoid eating and drinking proper food? Meaning that if somebody likes to eat paper, مثلا, or eat something that they shouldn't be eating, will this also invalidate their Sawm? Yes. Now, whether this is proper food or improper food doesn't make a difference. Eating or drinking anything on purpose will invalidate your wudu. What if it's a minute amount, just a drop of water? Does this also negate and invalidate the Sawm? Yes, it does. So the quantity doesn't have any relevance in this hukm, in this ruling. Whether you eat or drink a whole plate, مثلا eat a whole plate of food or eat 1 grain of rice, makes no difference. They'll both invalidate your Sawm. Now, what if you don't eat or drink, but rather you get IV drip into your bloodstream? Does this also invalidate the wudu? According to Sayyid Sistani, as well as, if I'm not mistaken, the most popular opinion among contemporary maraja', then this does not invalidate your Sawm. This also applies to an inhaler. If somebody has asthma, they need their inhaler. Does this invalidate their Sawm if they use an inhaler? According to Sayyid Sistani, as long as the substance isn't going into the esophagus, but rather going into their lungs, then it does not harm their Sawm. It does not invalidate their Sawm, according to Sayyid Sistani. But any external liquid or food invalidates the Sawm. Which means that if somebody swallows their own مثلا the water their saliva, ahsantum, then this does not invalidate the wudu. However, if the saliva, for example, and I know that it's a little bit disgusting, but if this exits their mouth, then they must get rid of it. It shouldn't come back into their mouth. Now, what if somebody is suffering from phlegm, for example, and there's the bile that's in their heads or in their chests, comes back into their mouth? Can they swallow this, or do they have to spit it out? According to Sayyid Sistani, you don't need to spit it out. You can swallow it if you want to, if that's your thing. Now, as soon as dawn breaks, as soon as the call for adhan is made, then you have to get rid of any food that isn't already swallowed. If there's food مثلا stuck between your teeth after adhan, then you have to get rid of it. You are no longer allowed to swallow that. هسه ذكرت وحدة من المؤمنات كانت تقول جتي وحدة قالت أنا بس سمعت الله أكبر نزلت لي كوبايتين وقلاص ماي. هسه هاي شلون تتصور ما أدري. بالنتيجة food and liquid, if it's external, then you're not allowed to consume it. This is the most simple and the easiest حكم pertaining to صوم. As I mentioned, another one is submerging your head underwater. Sayyid Sistani says, and this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is a ruling that specific to Sayyid Sistani, in which he says that it does not invalidate the wudu, the sawm. However, it is extremely makruh to submerge your head underwater. But based on the opinion of all of the other scholars, I'm not sure about Sayyid al-Khoi, but all of the contemporary scholars believe that this does in fact invalidate your psalm, inshallah, on more of the ahkam. Naam, Sayyid. No. So showering isn't submerging in a pool. مثل ما تفضلتوا. In a pool, it invalidates your psalm. صلوا على محمد وآل